What up, world? Welcome to another episode of Blunt Talk Quick Takes. I'm yours, Anthony Wright, coming to you from the beautiful and spring-like confines of Atlantic City, New Jersey. Wherever you may be watching or listening, I thank you as always. Like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel. You can check the Blunt Talk Quick Takes exclusively here on Podbean. However, if you're looking to catch out more content from the show, you can check the Blunt Talk Sports Podcast on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, Patreon, and as well as on Trovo. Happy to be here on this beautiful May 30th, 2025, bringing to you guys Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals, where the Knicks were able to pull out the victory and stave off elimination, 111-94. I'll touch on that game and all the beautiful things and crazy things from that game last night and that went down in the Garden. Electric night for the New York Knicks, and definitely showed poise and fight. Also, I have some trade speculation and rumors to touch on today, guys, pertaining to Giannis Antetokounmpo, and also a trade potential or trade rumor potential trade for Steph Curry that might impact the Boston Celtics and could potentially change the landscape of the NBA. So I'll definitely touch on both of those. But as always, we want to make sure we give a shout out to our friends of the show first. First and foremost, let's give a shout out to StubHub and Viagogo, the number one and number two leading ticket sellers in the world for live events, shows, and concerts. But over in the U.S. with StubHub, currently I got a great promotion going on for the NBA playoffs. There's creative ID links for Knicks tickets, Pacers tickets. Definitely get them while that series is still going on. The Western Conference Finals is already over, but if you're not really a basketball fan or aficionado and want to more or less hear some music, great news. We have Beyonce's Creative ID Link Tour, also as well as Benson Boone and Kendrick Lamar and SZA. So don't hesitate, don't wait. If you definitely want to make the most of your summer or the rest of your spring, and you would definitely want to be entertained, definitely check out the Creative ID links in the description box of this video. Also, for my Viagogo and UK subscribers, if you are definitely looking to get out this weekend or this spring, there's definitely a lot of things to get into. There's Coldplay currently touring in the UK, Bad Bunny, Billie Eilish, Dua Lipa, Lady Gaga, and also there's several festivals such as the Icarus Festival, which will be starting June 6th and ending on June 9th at the former military airfield in Memmingen, Germany. Also, the Isle of Summer Festival it actually started May 10th, but the next day is June 29th and also August 2nd. Various venues, but it'll be in Munich and Munich, Bavaria, Germany as well. So definitely check the Creative ID links for that. And like I said, number one and number two leading ticket getters in the world for live events, shows, and concerts. That'd be StubHub and Viagogo. And for my PlayStation subscribers out there, my avid gamers, I have a great special offer for you right now in the description box of this video. PlayStation is hosting their Days of Play. It is currently transpiring now from May 25th all the way to June 25th. Definitely check it out. A lot of bundle packages offers is in there. A lot of definitely special knickknacks and trinkets. I think that if you're an avid Sony player like myself, PlayStation user, you'll definitely want to take advantage of. Like I said, Sony's Days of Play 2025 is taking place right now as we speak. Sony PlayStation, more than a game. All right, guys, let's get into it. Let's touch on Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals now. Very, very much a shock in the aspect of how the Pacers played, but not too much of a shock in how the Knicks won. The Knicks were trying to stave off elimination. I mean, it's well documented they went into this game down 3-1. The series is now 3-2, with Indiana still holding the lead. But want to give a shout out to the Knicks. The Knicks came out on fire in this game. Jalenbrunson was shooting the lights out of the gym early. You can see him and karlanthonytowns were definitely in a rhythm. We're definitely going to be fighting and making sure this team was in it. Both of them, Brunson 32, Cat had 24 points respectively. So I definitely want to both give them their shout outs for that. Brunson had 32 points. Looks like he had here 5 assists, 5 rebounds. He was 4 of 7 from 3-point range. The three ball was definitely clicking for him last night. And he was 12 of 18 for the field, so hella efficient. Definitely fighting for his life. He put up, let's see here, put up 18, you would do the math, that's 25 shots, so he did pretty well. He did very, very well last night. Karlanthonytowns, 24 points, 13 rebounds. He did have 3 assists. He was 1 of 4 from 3-point range. Took a little too many threes for my liking, but hella efficient from the field. He was 10 of 20, so he shot 50% from there. You're doing the math there, that's about 24 shots, so he did pretty well, did pretty good. And then obviously the contributions from other guys like Josh Hart and a newbie, definitely was needed. Indiana had to, in that first half, they needed to play better. when attempting to play with pace. It just seemed like they were out of rhythm. It definitely felt like the Knicks had the magic and the energy all night. Halliburton did start off the game playing well. I definitely want to make sure I give him his props. Tyrese Halliburton ended the game, though, with a modest, and I mean mediocre, 8 points. Definitely did not get it going. There was definitely an effort to make sure he did not get the ball. He had a very, very horrible player efficiency rating. It was a negative 23. So definitely a bad. We do not expect another performance from Tyrese Halliburton like that. 2 of 7 from the field, 0 of 2 from three, and he ultimately was just getting to the free throw line. 6 assists, 2 rebounds. Not really much of an effort. Offensive production was not there. Benedict Mathurin was the leading scorer, so that should tell you the Knicks defense was just impeccable last night. And then again, with Indianapolis shooting the three ball last night, they were 10 of 30. So you're 33% from 3 point range in comparison to the Knicks, who were 27%. But again, when you had Brunson hitting those timely threes, then you got Cat hitting a few there, and then McBride, it just kind of looked better. But either way, both teams didn't shoot the ball well from three. If you go a little bit further, though, in that second half, it was just Brunson ultimately willing the team to victory, him and Cat as well. Indy was getting swarmed on defense. They really had no answer for the defensive pressure that Tom Thibodeau and the adjustments that they made for them. The energy was just there for the Knicks last night. Now, I'd be remiss to say Indy did show fight. They did find a little bit of a rhythm towards the middle of that fourth quarter, and they got on a 9-0 run. But it just seemed like the Knicks, and as they did, the Knicks kept stemming the tide with timely shots and great defense, doing exactly what they needed to do to ensure that this team wasn't in position to come back. And it just seemed like Indy was finally, the Pacers were finding their pace a little too late. And the Knicks were just doing the necessary things to just, win the game, play defense, fight for the loose balls, be contentious, take away the passing lanes. They did exactly what you would expect a team facing elimination to do, and they were able to stave it off. Now the question is, are they going to be able to secure another victory in Indianapolis, which I don't think they will. I don't see Tyrese Halliburton having the game that he had. I don't see uh, let's see here, Nemhard playing that bad anymore. I don't see Neesmith even having the bad game that he had. Now, you got to give Pascal Siakam credit. He played okay. He only had 15 points. He was 4 of 8 from the free throw line. He's got to be better shooting free throws. I think he has been a major liability for them on the free throw line. One of the reasons where I feel like even if they win this series against the Knicks, he's not going to be any help against them with Oklahoma City, especially at the free throw line. But nonetheless, he was 1 of 3 from 3 point range and 5 of 13 from the field. So a couple shades under 40%. So not great. This offensive production for the Pacers was just horrible. The Knicks defensively took away everything that they were trying to do. And they're going to have to do it again. It's going to be a great question if they can do it again. I definitely think the Pacers will close it out and win and punch their ticket to the finals in Indy tomorrow night. And then just let you know, Game 6, excuse me. Game 5 was last night. Game 6 will be in Indianapolis. Like I said, it's tomorrow night at 8 p.m. So definitely make sure you check that out. This has been an exciting Eastern Conference Finals. Like I said, sad that it has to end at some point, but I'm just definitely loving the basketball that we've been able to see so far this postseason from both these teams. Now getting into some free agency rumor mill news. I'm going to touch on this article first because this was posted a week ago via MSN, NBA Canada via MSN.com. The article was written by Colin Keene. I will have the link in the description box for you guys to definitely check it out. I implore you to read it. Very, very revealing, though, the potential trade that he had in here. Essentially, it was a multi-team trade, a 3-team trade, but essentially for Steph Curry, the trade would be the Celtics receiving Steph, which would be insane, but the Pistons would get Jimmy Butler and the 2025 number 28 pick from the Celtics. The Warriors, in return, will receive Jaylen Brown, Kristaps Porzingis, Jay Nivey, Tobias Harris, and Isaiah Stewart. Now, breaking down his perspectives and his logic on this, because, this trade itself sounds insane, but I will admit it sounds doable. It sounds doable. He said, for the Celtics' perspective, this trade makes sense because the Tatum Brown era officially ended in Boston. Tatum's not going to be there this season. Jaylen Brown, in my opinion, and I believe in a lot of NBA aficionados' opinion, cannot carry the Celtics team. Derek White, another guy that's a potential trade candidate. He's definitely, they could use him, as a focal point, or they could potentially trade him. Also, Drew Holiday is on the block. So this team is being broken up. And if you're looking at it, it's a potential situation where looking at 2025 as Colin Keene placed in this article, I mean, you're potentially looking at a lineup of Derek White, J.D. Davison, Steph Curry, Peyton Pritchard as a backup, Drew Holiday, Sam Hauser, Al Horford, Xavier Tillman, Luke Cornett, and Nehemiah Quetta. Um, Not great. Not great. Maybe in the Eastern Conference, a middle of the pack, fifth or sixth seed team, but you know, ultimately without Tatum, I get what he's saying. The team is going to have to make some serious. They're going to have some serious conversations about breaking this roster up and possibly rebuilding. For the Warriors' perspective, he said this rebuild has been a long time coming. It's a complete rebuild. By acquiring Jaylen Brown, you can bring in usher in a new era. That being said, you're also be getting Isaiah Stewart. Enforcer, defensive guy. And then the Jonathan Kuminga situation, not really sure how that's going to play out, as I've touched on in previous episodes here on the show. And then for the Pistons perspective, he talked about, the starting lineup of potentially being Cade Cunningham, Tim Hardaway Jr., Jimmy Butler, Sor Thompson, and Jalen Durant, that being a potent lineup for the Pistons. I can't lie. Colin Keene did some very, like I said, I implore you to read the article. As a potential trade, it does make a lot of sense. Jimmy Butler being there for the Pistons, he'd be the veteran presence that they need. Somebody they could put as an anchor, where Cade Cunningham is not all on him offensively to get the job done. Also, like I said, for the Warriors, you look at that perspective, getting Jaylen Brown in there, that might give you a chance where you might be able to potentially retain Jonathan Kuminga, but with Brown's contract, I'm not sure how all that could potentially play out. Getting Isaiah Stewart would definitely help on the defensive end, as a potential Draymond replacement. And for the Celtics, this one, like I said, you're getting Steph. I mean, that's pretty much self-explanatory. The trade makes sense. I don't think this is going to happen, though. Would it shock me if this did happen? No. Because when you really break down the brass tacks of it, it does make sense. Crazy as hell that Steph would be a Boston Celtic and then Jimmy would be going to Detroit and Boston would be giving up their number 28 pick in the 2025 draft and that'd be going to the Pistons. But you'd be getting rid of the expiring contracts of Porzingis and you'd be getting rid of Jaylen Brown, which would give you another guy, with obviously Steph being that guy in the immediate, but in the future, another guy that you could supplant and put in that role next to Jason Tatum. Crazy trade, crazy trade. Like I said, I implore you to read that article. Definitely something that I think could happen. Another thing that he touched on too, and I want to make sure I speak on this as well. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, he touched on Giannis potentially being traded, being the first, and he talked about how Brian Windhorst and Shams Charania spoke on Get Up via ESPN, one of the ESPN morning shows, talked about how it is going to be imperative that once Giannis moves, that's kind of like where the other dominoes will fall for like the Kevin Durant's and some of the other big free agents. As far as Antetokounmpo is concerned, there's still a question of him potentially staying in Milwaukee. I doubt that. However, they're stating that once he makes that move, that'll kind of be the domino effect and the door opening for a lot of other guys being able to move. Quote, and I want to make sure I'm getting this quoting the right person on this. He says here, this is via Shams Charania. Okay. First, I will be honest. Whether or not he will be leaving Milwaukee, that will be a big thing. Brian Windhorst also said, and then I really do think Kevin Durant's going to have to wait for Giannis because there's going to be some teams who are interested in both. So then KD, will have to wait. So it's basically one of those situations where Giannis's domino will have to fall for KD and other guys for to be able to get through that door. They talked about how the Brooklyn Nets have a ton of draft capital. It's unclear if Giannis would like to even go there. We all know the Knicks are potentially a team in there, and I do think because I do think the Knicks will lose the series against the Pacers. But when they do, I think that them possibly getting Giannis, swapping him for Cat, will be the move that would help potentially put them over the top. Um, but yeah, the dominoes are going to fall. It seems like any trades will definitely take place potentially during the between the finals and the draft. Draft being June 25th. Um, and it's crazy because the season's not even over, and it's just been a jam-packed season with a lot of moves. Um, but can't wait. I can't wait. I mean, like I said, it's going to be very interesting to see how all these things play out. You even got Luka Doncic working out, slimming down, looking great, getting ready for the next season. So the NBA, like the NFL is learning, the NBA does not sleep. The NBA is a consistent, ongoing thing. So I will keep you guys definitely plugged in as to what's going on with all this information. But that's going to do it for this episode. I will have a recap after Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals, detailing that, whether it's a Pacers or Knicks victory. I love you guys for always plugging in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Like I said, don't forget to also check out the description box with the Creative ID links. That way you can take full advantage of StubHub, Viagogo's, and PlayStation's offers. Take care, guys, and enjoy your weekend.